Let's make sure we've got 2 blocks and a blanket, and some of you might want to strap, you might not. But we're going to start lying down on our backs after you gather all your props. And as we start today on our backs, I do encourage you to lie down in whatever way feels good to you. So you might find that you want to lie down with your legs straight. You might find that you want to lie down with your knees bent. You might want the arms and the hands close to the body. You might want them away from the body, but you just allow yourself, oh, that's perfect, Steve. You just allow yourself, yeah, that's good. To just lie down and take a few moments to just notice what's touching the body. Notice where the body is touching the floor. And then we'll start to see if we can start to pay attention to our breath. So I've been really thinking lately about the change of season and how we're going into fall, and fall is considered a time of harvesting. And I've been really thinking about, like, what are the things that we want to collect? What are the things that we want to gather, to unite, to yoke, to harvest, as it were, so that as we go into this next phase of life, which often is a lot more introspective and quiet, we can have the nurturance that we need and the support that we need to get through to that next bit. So as you're lying here, I'd like you to start to deepen the breath. And it might just start by taking a few audible breaths in and out through the mouth, just to feel what your breath is even feeling like today. And after you feel like you've done that a few times, you might close the lips and start to constrict the back of the throat and invite in a nice, gentle Ujjayi pranayama. And as we start today in this shape, I do invite you to see if we can start to gently even out the sound of the breath. So the inhale is just a smooth, consistent breath in, and then the exhale is a smooth, consistent breath out. And then notice if the breath can be loud enough to just anchor your mind, but not so loud that it's overwhelming to you. And then see if you can find a sense of continuity. So the inhale becomes the exhale becomes the inhale, and it's one seamless flow. We're harnessing our awareness around our breath. And as we continue to go through the rest of our practice, I encourage you to always come back to the breath, always yoking, harnessing our awareness around the breath. At the end of your next exhale, if your legs are straight, go ahead and bend your knees and plant your feet firmly on the floor. With your feet hip distance apart, you can keep your hands as they are or bring the hands to the top of your hip bones. But I'd like you to inhale and arch your low back away from the floor, and then exhale, imprint your low back into the floor. And you'll just take about 4 to 5 of these, feeling what these small pelvic rocks feel like, letting the low back arch away from the floor and then melt into the floor. And you're just using that as the means by which to start to awaken this lower bit of the body. At the end of your next exhalation, let's go ahead and inhale and come to a neutral spine. So your pubic bone and the 2 top hip bones are parallel to the floor. Go ahead and draw your right knee in towards your chest. Grab the back of the right thigh. And you might take some ankle circles here. You might keep the leg completely still. It's totally up to you. Some of you will keep that left leg as it is. Some of you will slide your left leg forward against the floor. But you're just taking a few breaths here to pause and to breathe, to harness your awareness. And then once you're set and you've gone both directions in the ankle, go ahead and come to stillness. Inhale, start to kick your right leg away from you and up towards the sky, reaching the right foot for the ceiling. And then exhale, bend the knee, hug the knee into the chest, reach out through that left leg if it's long. And you've got 4 more of these. So the left leg stays super active, the right leg is super active. And you're just doing a little bit of nerve flossing here to start to open up the back of the body. And again, are you moving with your breath? Is the breath slow and smooth and full? Or is it a little bit faster? And we're seeing if we can even out, smooth out, slow down the breath. The next time your right leg reaches up towards the sky, we'll go ahead and pause there. Really kick your thigh into your hands, really pull your hands into your thigh. Draw your right hip away from your right shoulder and then tuck it in towards your inner left thigh, and then see if you can press the back of the left heel. Yep, the left calf, the left thigh to the floor as you pull the left toes towards your face. Yep. And you've got 2 more breath cycles here. Notice if you can soften any tension around your shoulders. Notice if you're still breathing deeply into the full depth of the lungs. Awesome sauce. Take your last breath cycle here. And then gently keep that right leg as it is. Bring your left hand to the outside edge of your right knee. Left hand, outside edge of right knee. Yep, open your right arm to the right. Flex through that right leg a lot. Push up through the right big toe mound. And then you're going to cross your right leg just 2 to 3 inches over to the left. Pause there. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, bend your right knee, drawing your heel to your butt. And then inhale, straighten the leg back into that cross diagonal position. And you've got 4 or 5 of these. I want you to see if you can tone that right quadricep under your left hand. So you're feeling the outside edge of that leg engage. And if you need to walk your left hand closer to your right hip, by all means do that. For me, it's easier if I can grab closer to my hip to feel that quadricep engage than it is near the knee. But if you don't have that mobility there, no worries. And you're really trying to push the right outer leg into the left hand. And then the next time you straighten that right leg, you're going to stay there. Press out through the big toe mound. Draw your outer right hip away from your right shoulder and tone the right thigh into the left hand. On your next exhale, bend the right knee again. Start to cross the right leg over to the left side of the body. You might bump your hips to the left or just leave them completely to the right, or you might completely stay as you are. And then you're pushing that right thigh up into the left hand. You're pulling the left thigh gently down. You might turn your gaze over your right shoulder, but you're pausing and you're breathing. And then on your next in-breath, you're going to resist coming out of the twist, but you'll come out of the twist. So the right leg will push to the right, the left hand will slightly pull to the left, but you'll come all the way back to your back. Pause there. Gently bend the right knee back in towards your chest. Open the left arm out to the left. Hold on to the outside edge of your right leg with your right hand. And actually, don't hold on. I want you to push your right hand into your right thigh knee. Push your right thigh knee into your right hand. And you're going to resist opening that leg to the right. So you're pushing your right knee to the right, but your right hand is pushing to the left. The leg will win, the leg will open to the right, but there's resistance. So you're not going to flop all the way out. The right leg will open to the right, but the right hand is saying, no, Nanette, don't go. And all the while you're rooting down on that left leg, left hip. Awesome sauce. Take 2 more breaths here, pushing that right hand into right knee thigh, right thigh knee into right hand. Yep. Next in breath, go ahead and come back up to center. Pause here, bend the left knee, put the left foot on the floor, cross the right ankle over the top of the left thigh, flex through that foot a lot. Arms stay on the floor for a bit. Now draw your knees towards your face, flexing through the right foot. Press the right ankle against the top of the left shin, thigh, knee. Left knee pushes into that right ankle. And if you're happy here with that left shin parallel-ish to the floor, you can stay here. Otherwise, you might bring your hands through the holes of the legs and grab the back of the left thigh. Keep pressing right ankle against top of left knee. And you're just pausing and breathing, seeing how much of your pelvis you can keep rooted onto the floor. And at the end of your next exhalation, notice what you can soften. Take in a deeper breath, and then exhale, you'll release the hands, draw the left foot to the floor, draw the right foot to the floor. Take a moment to pause and just notice what you notice between the sides. Does one hip feel more rooted? Does one side of the pelvis feel more weighted? How do the shoulders feel? How is the breath working? And then as you're ready, we'll try the other side. So this time, the left knee will come into your chest. You'll grab at the back of the thigh, and if you'd like, you'll take some ankle circles here. If you'd like, you'll extend that right leg long on the floor beneath you. But you're just taking a moment to check in and see how the body's working. Check in to see how the breath is working. And then once you've gone both directions with that ankle, go ahead and come to stillness. Flex through that left foot. Inhale, start to kick your left thigh into your hands, left foot up towards the sky. And then exhale, bend the knee, hug the knee into the chest, the heel towards the hip. And you've got 4 of these, just slowly moving with the breath, really engaging that thigh into the hands into the thigh. Nice work. And again, are you harnessing the breath? Is the awareness completely focused on how the body is breathing in and how the body is breathing out? Nice work. This should be our last one. So the next time your left leg is up to the sky, you'll take a moment to pause. Reach up through the left foot. Draw the left hip away from your left shoulder. Roll the inner right thigh to the floor. Press the back of the right thigh, the right calf, the right heel to the floor. And then notice if you can kick that left thigh into your hands and almost pull the hands straight down. So it's like you're plugging your leg into your hip socket. And then notice if you can breathe a little bit deeper as you press up through that big toe mound. Awesome sauce. You got 1 to 2 more breath cycles here. Keep rooting down through the left hip as you reach up through the left big toe mound. Nice. All right. Bring your right hand in front to grab the outside edge of your left knee. Open the left arm out to the left. And then keeping your left hip on the floor, cross the left leg a few inches over to the right. Yep. Take a big breath in here. And then you'll exhale and bend the knee and draw the heel to the hip. And then inhale and straighten the leg. And you've got about 4 of these. And again, I want you to see if you can tone that left quadricep under your right hand. So if you want to move your right hand down closer to your hip, sometimes that helps because then you can feel the muscles underneath you. And you try to almost push the muscles into the hand as the hand is lightly pulling into the muscles. So Steve, see if you can crop. There you go. And that right leg is still as parallel as possible. So ideally it hasn't rolled out. Awesome. The next time you straighten that left leg, pause there. Really tone the left quadricep under your right hand. Draw that left hip away from you. Awesome sauce. And on your next exhale, go ahead and bend the left knee, drawing the heel closer to the hip. You might cross the leg all the way over to the right and bump your hips to the left. You might keep your hips exactly as they are. You might then take your gaze over to the left hand, and sometimes it really just helps to lift up that right shoulder blade to do that. And then again, you're pushing your left hip into the right hand, pulling the right hand into the left hip. Nice job. Take 1 more breath cycle here. And as you're ready, you'll resist to come out of the twist. So the left leg pushes to the left, the right hand pulls to the right, you come back to your back. Yep. Once you find yourself on your back, make sure your shoulders are over your hips. You'll bring your left hand to the outside edge of your left knee thigh. Your right hand will open out to the right. Let's start on this side by actively pushing the palm of your left hand into your left thigh knee. Flex through that left foot, and then slowly start to open the left knee to the left, but the left hand is saying, no, no, don't go, but the left leg is stronger. So the leg will open to the left, and it'll probably come towards your armpit, but you're resisting that for dear life with that left hand. And then you're rooting down through the right hip, the right heel. Nice job. Take 1 to 2 more breath cycles here. The end of your next exhalation, you'll use the belly to come back up. So you resist. The left hand is pushing it, but the left knee is resisting coming back to center. Once you get back to center, you'll bend the right knee. You'll plant the foot on the floor. You'll cross the left ankle over the top of the right thigh. Flex through that foot a lot, and then draw that configuration towards your chest. The right knee draws without hands for just a moment. The right knee presses into that left ankle pushes into that right thigh. And with the shin bone, right shin bone parallel to the floor, you might stay here, or you might thread your hands through the whole of your legs and grab the back of that right thigh. And you'll just take a few breaths here. And then I want you to notice, is the weight equal on your right and your left pelvis? Can you root down more into the right hip so that more of your back is rooted onto the floor on the right side versus all of it tipping towards the left? Yeah, good job. And then you've got your last breath cycle here. And as you exhale, gently release the hands, draw the right foot to the floor, draw the left foot next to meet the right. And then pause for a moment. Notice what you notice between the sides. And you'll take 3 to 5 little pelvic rocks here. So the butt stays on the floor, but you're just rocking forward and back, arching the spine away from the floor, and then pressing the spine into the floor just to feel what happens. But the butt stays on the floor the whole time, just rolling around the head of the femur bone. And then go ahead and find that neutral position. So where the pubic bone and the top 2 hip bones are parallel to the ceiling. I want you to press now into your feet. And you'll inhale, open your knees as wide as they'll go without letting your feet come off the floor. And then exhale, hug the knees back together. And you've got 4 or 5 of these. These are just to reset your pelvis. So the butt stays on the floor. The soles of the feet stay on the floor. And you just try to open your legs as far as they'll go without letting the feet come up. Yep. Nice job, guys. Last set. So the whole sole of the foot stays just on the floor, and it's just working your ankles a little bit while also resetting the innominate bones of the pelvis. And then once you feel like you're pretty good with that, we'll come to neutral. We'll pause there. You have the option of keeping your feet hip distance apart and close to your pelvis, or walking them a little bit forward. You also have the option of keeping your arms completely flat against the floor or bending them like little robots, your choice. But we'll keep the feet at least hip distance apart. And then you'll inhale, start to push through your feet, lift your hips. And then you'll exhale and slowly roll down the spine. And you've got about 4 of these. And so you're going to just take your time, seeing if you can find every single articulation through the vertebra. So you've got, 5 bones in the coccyx sacrum area. They're mostly fused, so they're probably not going to move separately, but you could think about them doing that. And then you've got the 5 bones in the lumbar spine. So can you find their ability to move independently? And then you've got those 12 bones in your thoracic spine. So can you move each one of them separately? And then, of course, you've got those 7 bones in the cervical spine. So the neck area, can you move through as many of those as equally? Now, of course, 2 of them aren't going to move anyways because it's A1 and A2 and they don't move. But, we're thinking about moving through all of the bones of the body. And A1 and A2 do move, just not in this direction. Okay. And then the next time your hips are up, we're going to pause there. And some of you will continue to push down through your robot arms. You'll walk your shoulder blades underneath you. Some of you with your arms straight will continue to push down through your arms and walk your shoulder blades underneath you. You might then grab the outer edges of your mat. You might clasp opposite hands. Well, you've got 3 to 5 breaths here. And with every inhale, I want you to see if you can lift your heart space up towards the ceiling. With every exhale, I want you to see if you can soften your shoulder blades, the upper arms to the floor, maybe even the tops of the glutes to the floor. So inhale, heart space lifting. Exhale, front ribs softening down. Inhale, seeing how you can find a little bit more lift in the front body, and the exhale, finding a little bit more groundedness in the back body. And as you're here for these last 2 breath cycles, make sure you're still pressing into the big toe mounds evenly, so the feet aren't rolling out, but are rooted down. Yeah. And at the end of your next exhale, you'll gently release the hands and slowly, slowly, slowly roll down the spine, bone by bone, by bone, by bone, by bone. Yeah. Once you find your spine all the way back in contact with the floor, you might extend one leg and then the other. And then you might reach your arms alongside your ears and take a long body stretch and just notice what this feels like. And when you feel like you've maybe taken some little hip hikes, so lifting one hip closer to the shoulder and then the other just to find length on your body, you'll then start to roll over to one side and then make your way onto your abdomen. So if you want to flip around, you can flip around. Otherwise, you can just flip yourself over like a pancake. Okay. And now this next little bit is going to be very tiny movements. So I want you to bring your forehead to the floor. Bring your hands to your low back and create a diamond with your hands if you can. So your thumbs touch each other, the fingers touch each other, the elbows are bent. Great. Make sure it feels like for you, with your hands on your low back, that it feels like your low back is long. So you might breathe your low back into your hands. And then you're going to reach out through your legs, reach out through the toes, make as much length on the front body and back body as you can. Nice. All right. Now from here, I want you to just draw your shoulders up towards your ears a bit. Draw the shoulder blades onto your back. And then lift your head just a couple millimeters or inches away from the floor until it feels like your neck is long in the front and in the back. Great. We're going to do about 5 of these. I want you to inhale, reach your right foot so far back that it lifts up and away from the floor. And then you'll exhale and lower it down. And then you'll do the same thing on the other side. So inhale, lift the left leg up and back and lower it down. And you've got about 5 more sets on your own. Your head is still hovering off the floor the whole time. Because your hands are on your low back, you can keep your low back long, almost like inching your thumbs against your sacrum to lengthen your tailbone to your toes. And then you're noticing if you can also keep inviting those shoulder blades onto your back body. Yeah. And so the reason we're not clasping the hands today is because it makes the body work a little bit harder if you have to actually push your fingers into each other versus just like holding and clawing your way into it. And you might notice that as you complete these, you might be able to start lifting a little bit more of your head and chest away from the floor. You might find that that might not work for you today, and that's okay. Yeah. Awesome sauce. Let's let this be our last set. Yep. And now here's our left leg lifting. Awesome sauce. Pause here. Keep the head lifted. Next in breath, reach both feet so far back that they just have to float up and away from the floor. Great. On your next inhalation, open the legs as wide as you want. Keep that low back long. And then exhale, hug the legs towards each other. And we've got about 5 of these. So you'll inhale, lift the head, open the legs. You'll exhale, keep the head that lifted, close the legs. Inhale, open the legs, maybe lift the chest. Yep. Exhale, keep the chest that lifted, close the legs. Yep. 3 more on your own. And you're noticing that you can slightly start to lift higher and higher up with the chest every time you close the legs. And the focus is really on keeping that low back long. So you're pushing the low back into those hands if you can. The tailbone lengthens back. The next time your legs come together, you're going to pause there and you're going to breathe. Some of you will keep your hands here. Some of you will clasp your hands. Some of you will reach your hands alongside your bodies, but all of us are going to reach our fingers back energetically, our toes back, our tailbone back, and see if we can draw our shoulder blades onto our back body, lift our hearts a little higher, lift our heads a little higher, maybe lift our legs a little higher. Nice job for 3. Shoulder blades onto the back body for 2. Inner thighs lifting for 1. On your next exhale, you'll slowly lower everything down. Awesome sauce. Bring your hands alongside your lowest ribs. Press to hands and knees. And you'll just take 3 to 5 cats and cows here. And so we did some back strengthening, and I want you to just notice what it feels like to slowly move through your spine now, going into that flexion and that extension. And then you'll notice, can we bring our awareness back to the breath? Are you focused just on the breath and how it feels? Okay. On your next in-breath, go ahead and come to a neutral spine. Everyone look back at your thigh bones. Make sure they stay perpendicular to the floor. And then you're going to walk your hands as far forward as you want, coming into Anahatasana. And I do encourage you to take this more first as a down dog position. So your spine is long, your pelvis is reaching back, your ears come in alignment with your arm bones. And you're finding as much length as you can between your right and your left hip. And we've got 4 breath cycles here. And I want everyone to inhale and lift the inner armpits up and away from the floor a bit. That might lift your head away from the floor. And then you'll exhale and wrap the triceps to the floor, push your shoulders forward into your hands, your hips back. Nice work. So all the same actions that we would do in a down dog. So inner armpits lift, triceps wrap, hips reach back. Nice job. Take one more breath cycle here. At the end of your exhalation, you'll start to walk your hands back underneath you. Make sure the hands are directly underneath the shoulders. I would encourage you at this point to pad your knees if your knees are sensitive. That might be something that you might find helpful, but you also might not, so you choose to do that. And then little prep before we do any more knee weight bearing exercise. Let's press into our left hand, reach your right arm out to the right and then up towards the sky. And as you exhale, thread that right arm underneath the left side of your body. Now for today, I want you to pause. You might bring the whole right arm to the floor. Some of you will keep that left elbow bent, push into the left hand enough to lift just the right shoulder an inch away from the floor. So that's the under shoulder. You'll press into the back of the right hand, the right forearm, and then lower it down. And so you'll notice what it feels like to lift that under shoulder, the right shoulder, up and away from the floor. Does it change how you're feeling this in your back? You still keep drawing your chin towards your chest and rotating the upper rib cage towards the left. And then once you feel like you found a good spot for you, you'll just take a few moments to breathe there and you'll pause. You'll draw that outer left hip back. Some of you will keep the left hand as it is. Some of you might take a variation, either walking it forward, maybe reaching it up towards the sky, but you're really pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what's working for you. You're harnessing your awareness. I think the reason we have to gather things in is because in this day and age, we can be so inundated with all these things that are asking us to do a million different things. And it can become hard to notice what to really focus on. At the end of your next exhale, you'll start to come out of this position. So you'll walk that left hand back underneath the shoulder. And then you'll inhale, sweep the right arm up towards the sky. Notice how your rotation is here when you do that. And as you exhale, lower that right hand down, and then we'll switch sides. So inhale, the left arm sweeps to the left and up towards the sky. And exhale, thread that arm underneath you, bringing the back of the left hand to the floor. And just as we did on the first side, you might walk the right hand in a bit so you can press through the right hand. And then you'll maybe lift and lower that left shoulder, the under shoulder, away from the floor, noticing how that feels on the back of your left side body. And again, the chin tucks into the chest, the left hand and forearm press into the floor. And then once you feel like you found a good, interesting spot for you, you'll take whichever variation you'd like. So some of you might walk that right arm forward and continue to twist the rib cage towards the right. Some of you might reach the right arm up towards the sky. But you'll just notice what is working for you here, harnessing all your awareness into those things that are actually serving you, the things that are feeding you, the things that are nurturing you, so that whatever is in store for your next stage of evolution is actually ready and present to support. Awesome sauce. At the end of your next exhale, you'll start to prepare to come out of this pose. You'll lower that right hand back down so it's underneath the shoulder. And then you'll inhale, sweep the left arm out to the left and up towards the sky. Awesome sauce. And then exhale, lower that hand down. Cool. Let's go ahead and walk our hands forward about one handprint. Keep both sets of toes curled under, and then press your bum up and back for a downward facing dog with super bent knees. So just like we did in that Anahatasana shape, I want everyone to shift your weight forward a little bit into your hands more. Keep your inner armpits that lifted. Wrap your triceps back towards your hips. Yep. And then from there, push your butt up towards the sky. Keep your knees super bent and find that length in your spine. Yeah. Now, some of you will slowly straighten one leg. Some of you will slowly straighten the other, but pay attention to what's happening with the shoulder girdle. Nice work. Harness the breath, bringing it back to this moment. And then you'll go ahead and come to a still neutral spot. Inhale, bend the knees and lower the knees to the floor. Okay. Last thing before we do one more thing. So I want you to keep both toes curled under, start to walk your hands back for our toe squat. And for today, I want you to really pay attention. To me, sometimes it feels better to just stay right here and find the stretch on the medial side, so the inside edge of my calves. And so I might just stay here. Some of you might choose to come up to vertical, but you'll choose whichever option is working for you. So it looks like all of us are up. Okay, from here, let's bring our hands behind us. And I want you to hug your elbows towards each other and see if you can actually touch your elbows towards each other. They're not going to touch. We're not going to interlace our hands though. So the elbows are just squeezing towards each other. And you're seeing if you can hug the elbows towards each other energetically and physically using the muscles on the back. Now from there, lengthen the tailbone down a little bit. Reach the crown of your head up and see if you can draw the shoulder blades onto your back body as you keep your front ribs closed and as you hug your elbows towards each other. And we've got about 3 more breaths. And so you're in this very weird, awkward position where like the hands aren't touching, but you're hugging your elbows towards each other. And then as you're ready, we're going to gently release this. Come forward, hands and knees, pitter patter your toes if you'd like. And you might also take a counter stretch if you'd like, but not necessary either. Great. All right. And let's go ahead and come back forward, hands and knees. I want you to keep your knees as they are, and you're going to walk your hands as far forward as you can to make a diagonal line from your knees to your shoulders to your hips. So the knees stay as they are, and you're going to walk your hands forward. Walk your hands forward. Walk your hands forward. And your head has to go forward with you too this time. So we're making one diagonal line from your knees, through your hips, through your head. Cool, that's clear as mud. Everyone come out. Okay, so we're going to keep our knees where we are and walk ourselves forward to create one diagonal line from our knees through our shoulders, through our hips. Awesome. So we're going to stay right here for a moment. I want everyone to press down through the L shape of your hands. You're going to lengthen your tailbone down and draw your low belly in. We're just trying to engage the fronts of our arms, and then you're going to slowly lower yourself down to do a little push-up, and you're going to come straight back up. And because we made our body one long line, you've got 3 of these, you want to see if your chest and your belly and your hips all touch at the same time and your head stays lifted the whole time. Yep. Good job. And then after you've done 3 of those, you're going to coming back to your hands and knees regular. Reach your right foot back, tuck the toes under. Lift the right leg parallel to the floor. Now, just like we did before, I want you to scrub your tailbone straight back. Lift your upper, or rather your low back to the ceiling, and then you might reach your left arm forward in opposition. Now, just as you did in that push-up position, press down through the right hand. Draw the low belly in, low back up, reach up through that inner right thigh. You've got 3. Draw the outer left hip back. You've got 2. You've got 1. Lower the left hand, lower the right leg. Let's try that on the other side. Left leg back. Inhale, float the left leg parallel to the floor. Now lift your low back to the sky. Scrub your tailbone back to your left foot. Push into your left hand, and you might reach your right hand forward. Now you're trying to find as much length as you can as you breathe. Keep pushing through that left hand, lifting up through that inner left thigh. Nice job, guys. You've got 3, you've got 2, you've got 1. Lower the right hand, lower the left knee. Take 3 cats and cows and notice what you notice. And so we're just noticing. What do you notice? How does the body feel? How does the breath move through the body at this moment? Great. Let's go ahead and add on your next in-breath. Let's go ahead and come to a neutral spine. With your knees still probably padded, walk your right foot out to the right, parallel to the left knee. Right foot out to the right, parallel to the left knee. Great. From here, look forward to your hands, and you're going to walk your hands as far forward as you want to, coming back into that Anahatasana shape. So your hands press down and forward, both hips press back, both armpits lift up, and you're seeing if you can press that right pinky toe into the floor. And we're looking for a stretch that's happening on the inside edge of your right thigh. Some of you will find that pretty easily just by walking your hands forward. Some of you will walk your hands forward and to the right, and that will just intensify the stretch that you're feeling. But you're just going to pause and you're going to breathe, and you're pressing that whole right pinky toe to the floor. Your hips are going back and you're breathing, you're breathing, you are breathing. Nice work. You got 2 more breath cycles here. How can you continue to lift up through those armpits, press the hips back and root down through that right pinky toe. Nice job. On your next exhale, you'll start to walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Pause here, wiggle walk the right foot slightly in towards the left knee. Wiggle walk the right foot, there we go. And then start to walk your hands all the way over to the left, so your left hand is in line with your left knee. And then you might start to reach that right arm up towards the sky. So Jason, walk the left hand all the way to the left. Yep. And then press down onto the right pinky toe, lengthen your tailbone down, reach up through that right arm. Some of you will stay right here. Some of you will draw the right arm alongside the right ear and find a stretch with a long, long, strong, straight body. Some of you will then continue to rotate your chest towards the top of your mat. Some of you will hold the back of your head with your right hand. And then you can push down into that left hand and spiral your chest even more up towards the sky. So Barbara, can you walk your left hand more to the left so it's in line with your left knee? Yeah. Yep. And then so you're finding this crazy stretch happening all along your side body. Awesome. Some of you will stay right here happy as a clam. Some of you will then start to press more weight into your left hand and into your left knee, and you will float your right leg parallel to the floor. Awesome sauce. And some of you will stay right there. Some of you will reach that right hand alongside your right leg, so it's parallel to it. You'll bend your right knee. You'll grab your right ankle with your right hand. You'll push down through your left hand, and you'll roll your chest towards the front of your space. You might then start to kick your right leg back behind you, scrubbing your tailbone back towards your right knee. And you're just pausing and you're breathing. And wherever you are, you're just noticing what's going on, harnessing your awareness to this moment, not letting it be scattered and all over the place. And then very gently, if you're holding on to that right foot, you'll gently release the right foot out, make the right leg long. Everyone lower the right foot to the floor if it's lifted. Lower both hands to the floor, and then crawl back to the center of your space. You might take a few cats and cows in hands and knees, or you might just notice what a down dog feels like at this point. But you're just allowing yourself to check in, to harness your energy. If that means you need to rest, you rest. If that means you need to wiggle around a little bit, you wiggle around, but you're allowing yourself to come to this present moment. Yeah. And then as we're ready, we'll go ahead and we'll try the other side. So you'll find yourself back in that neutral position, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Walk your left foot out to the left in line with your right knee. Awesome sauce. Press the left pinky toe to the floor, look forward to your hands, and then you'll start to walk your hands forward. And so as the hands come forward, we're still trying to find that Anahatasana shape, or that down dog shape in the upper body. So the inner armpits are lifting me up and the triceps are wrapping to the floor. Some of you will immediately feel something on the inside edge of your left leg and you'll stay there. Some of you will arc your hands up and to the left slightly, and that'll give you even more sensation happening. So you choose what's working for you. But again, you're pressing that left pinky toe to the floor, you're breathing, and you're noticing what's happening here. Yeah. And then very gently, we're going to start to come out of that side bend. If we took the side bend, walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Wiggle walk your left foot a little bit in towards your right knee. Walk both hands all the way to the right so they're in line with your right knee. From there, you might lift your left arm up towards the sky. Yep. And some of you will reach that left arm alongside the left ear. Some of you will bend the left elbow and grab the back of your head. All of you will push down into that right hand a lot, press down into that left pinky toe. And then some of you might float that left leg up parallel to the floor. So Steve, walk the right hand all the way to the right so you're more in a lateral position. Awesome. And then some of you will stay there with that left leg hovering. Some of you will bend the left knee, reach around and grab the outside edge of your left foot. Everyone press down into the right hand, scrub your tailbone down to your left knee, and you might roll the chest more as you kick the left foot back behind you. And the more you can press down with that right hand, you'll lift up through the right armpit, which will help that right shoulder blade on the back body. Nice. Very mindfully release that left foot, straighten the left leg long. Lower the left foot to the floor, lower both hands to the floor, and walk back to center. Curl both sets of toes under once you get back to hands and knees. And then you'll lift yourself up for downward facing dog. And you'll just pause and you'll breathe. And you'll notice what down dog feels like here. How are the inner armpits lifting up? Yep. How is the low back staying long? So you're inflating that low back and you're lifting the hips high. Great. Let's move on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, pause here for a moment. Bend your left knee, so that's the bottom one. Inhale, straighten that left leg long. And notice what that did to your calf. Take another breath in. As you exhale, step that right foot quietly between your hands. Great. From here, some of you might want to bring your hands to blocks. Some of you might just keep your fingers on the floor. But you'll inhale here, and then you'll exhale and you'll straighten your front leg long. And you've just got 4 of these. So you'll inhale, bend that front knee. Exhale, straighten that front leg. Awesome. And after you've taken 4, you'll hang out with both legs straight for just a moment. And with both legs straight, I want you to just pause and you'll breathe. Some of you will need to draw that outer left hip forward a bit. Some of you will press that right big toe down even more as you press from the right sit bone, and all of you will pull both kneecaps up. Great. Some of you will peel the sole of your right foot away from the floor if that right leg is completely straight. So the toes will pull up and only the heel will press down, and you'll just notice what that feels like in the backs of your hamstrings. Nice work. If you lifted the foot, lower it back down. Everyone bend your front knee. Start to walk your hands forward, shift your weight forward, float your back leg parallel to the floor. And you'll just take a moment to pause here and breathe. Draw that outer right hip back, lift up through that inner left thigh. Nice job. Next, exhale, bend your right knee, step the left foot back. Warrior 1. So put the feet down and then slowly come up for warrior 1. Yep. And you just pause. You notice. Can you draw that outer right hip back? Can you continue to press down on the left pinky toe? And can you reach up evenly through both sides? Nice work, guys. On your next exhale, frame your front foot. Step back to plank pose. Pause. This is our first official plank. I want you to push down through the hands, lift up through the inner armpits, lift up through the inner thighs. Some of you will stay right here and breathe happy as a clam. Some of you will inhale and float your right leg up. And some of you will lower that leg back down, and then you'll lift the left leg up. And you've got about 4 of these. And ideally, we're trying not to move the shoulders or the hips while we're lifting the leg, if we're lifting the leg. You're just engaging the core, and you're noticing what that does. Yeah, nice and controlled, nice and slow. And after you've done 4, so 2 on each side, you'll go ahead and bend your knees and push yourself back up to downward facing dog. You'll take a moment to breathe and pause there, and you'll just notice what that feels like. Notice what that feels like. You might fidget, you might be still, but we're trying to harness everything in. We're trying to gather our awareness in. All right, let's try the other side. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. Pause there for a moment. Exhale, bend the bottom knee. So that's the right leg. Inhale, straighten the right leg long. Notice what happens to the right hamstring. Take another breath in, lift that left heel a little higher. And then exhale, step that foot quietly between your hands. Nice work. From here, hands might come to blocks or stay on floor. But then you've got 4 of those little bends and straightens of the front leg. And you're working with staying with your breath. How does it feel to come forward, bending that front knee? How does it feel to go back? As you come forward, make sure you're still drawing the outer left hip back. Yep, nice work, Barbara. Nice work, Jenny. Looks good, Steve. Nice, Jason. Nice, Julie. Yep. And then after you've taken about 4, you'll stay there with both legs straight. And you might want to walk your blocks in just a little bit so they're underneath your shoulders. Yep. And then some of you will stay right here and we'll all lift that inner right thigh up, pull that outer left hip back and make sure our kneecap is super straight. Some of you will peel, yeah, that looks better, Julie. Peel the sole of the foot away from the floor and just push down into your heel. And you're just pausing and you're breathing. Awesome. One more breath cycle here. Very gently, you'll start to bend the knee, plant that foot back on the floor, start to walk your blocks and hands forward, lift the back leg parallel-ish to the floor. And so this is our prep pose for the next shape. So I want you to really focus on how you can root down through that front foot, lift through that back inner thigh. And then on your next exhale, you'll bend the front leg, carefully step that right foot back, root down through the back foot, and then once you're established through the feet, bring your spine up for warrior one. Nice work, guys. Yeah. And then you'll just take a moment to pause and breathe here. What small adjustments do you need to make in this shape to really energize this shape, to really ground in this shape, to really root in this shape? Yep. And as you're ready, you'll exhale, frame the front foot, and step back to plank pose. Okay, so this time in plank, you might stay here in plank, or you might shift your weight forward and do the slowest push-up on the face of the planet. And then you'll meet back in downward facing dog. Nice work, guys. Awesome. Let's inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, step that right foot quietly between your hands. Pause, spin the back foot down for warrior two, and then bring yourself up to warrior two. All right, let's pause for a moment. Everyone bring your hands to your hips. Look down at your front foot, so that's your right foot. I want you to turn your right toe slightly to the left side of your mat, just a little bit. Okay, just a little bit, yeah. Now see if you can bend into that right knee a little bit more. Then notice if you need to turn your left heel out just a bit, so your left toes might come in just a little bit. So this is slightly awkward, but it does look like it's tracking more for the knee. And then notice if you need to adjust that right foot now that you've adjusted the left foot. Perfect, great. Go ahead and bend that front knee and then return to warrior two arms. Yeah, awesome. Cool, so we're gonna stay here, continue to bend through that front knee. Inhale, sweep your right arm up and back and take a reverse warrior. And I want you to take 4 breath cycles here. And we're really focusing on this being a side body bend. So changing the feet just a little bit sometimes gives us more capacity to really externally rotate in that front leg, which then gives us a capacity to find a length on our side body. And you're just noticing and pausing and breathing. And then as you're ready, you'll inhale and come back to warrior two. Reach that right arm forward and come for extended side angle. Maybe the right forearm comes to the thigh, maybe the fingers come to the floor or a block, and that left arm will reach alongside your ears. And again, you're paying attention to how you're pressing down onto the pinky toe edge of that back foot, how you're bending into that front knee and lengthening down through the tailbone. Nice work, guys. On your next in-breath, return to warrior two. As you exhale, let's go ahead and straighten that front leg long. Turn your right heel out so both feet are parallel to the short edges of your mat. Great. Some of you will bring your hands to your hips. Some of you will interlace your hands at your low back, but you're just going to lift the heart up, and then you're going to hinge forward at the hips and fold in for Prasarita Padottanasana. Now, it might have been a while since we've done this. So once you start to fold forward, if you need to adjust your hands, you adjust your hands. Hands might come to the floor, hands might come to the ankles. But I want you to see where you can find a position where you can feel those inner thighs lengthening. You're pulling the kneecaps up, the head is descending, and you're pressing the pinky toe edges of the feet down. Nice work, guys. Take 2 to 3 more breath cycles here. Notice if you can let the neck be long. Yep. Awesome. All right. Next in breath, let's go ahead and turn to face the front of your mat, low lunge. Exhale, step back, down dog. Now your choice, you might stay here in down dog, you might rest in a child's pose, you might feel like you want to cycle through an up dog or cobra, but you're allowing yourself to really harness your energy, to gather it in, to notice what is working best for you. Nice job, guys. All right. So we'll go ahead and move on to the other side. On your next in-breath, sweep your left leg up and back. As you exhale, step that left foot quietly between your hands. Take a moment to pause and spin the right foot to the floor and then come up for warrior two. And when we come to warrior two, this time I would like you to try that weird thing that we did the last time. So you'll turn your left toes a little bit to the left. Then you'll notice if you need to spin your right heel back a little bit and then maybe reopen the left foot. But you're trying to find it where it feels like the rotation is coming from your hips. Yeah. And then from there, let's go ahead and inhale and sweep your left arm up and take that side bend into reverse warrior. And you've got 4 breaths. 4 breaths. What does it feel like to breathe onto the left side of your body right here, right now? How do you soften any tension in your throat? How do you soften any tension in your face as you continue to root down through your left foot and your right foot? Nice job, guys. On your next in-breath, let's go ahead and return to warrior two. As you exhale, it's extended side angle. So maybe left forearm comes to left thigh, maybe left fingertips come to floor or block. Right arm extends alongside your ears. And again, we're paying attention. Are you rooting that right pinky toe down, lifting the right arch up? Drawing the under left hip or left hip under and in. And then seeing if you can almost open the heart forward and back to have that rotation of the right ribs on top of the left. Nice. Nice work. On your next in-breath, return to warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. As you exhale, go ahead and straighten your front leg long. Turn both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat and pause. This time, let's bring our hands to our hips. Spin your heels in, your toes out, sit your butt low. Now you might slide your hands to the tops of your thighs, sitting for that goddess pose, knees wide, heels in, toes out. And then you might dip your right shoulder into your left knee, your left shoulder into your right knee. And if you're moving from side to side, you keep doing that. And once you're balanced, you'll come back to center. And then if you haven't already, you'll bring your hands to your thighs. I want you to lock out your arms. I generally don't say that, but lock out your arms. So your elbows are super straight. You're pushing your pelvis back. Your heart is melting through your arms. And you'll just see how that feels in the inner thighs, how that feels in your spine. For me, it feels like it creates a traction. For you, it might not feel like that. So you're just noticing what you notice. And then if you're happy there, you stay there. Otherwise, we're going to energize the legs. So hands will come to heart center. You'll sit as low as you can, and we'll breathe here for 3. We'll breathe here for 2. We'll breathe here for 1. As you're ready, push through the feet, straighten the legs long. Turn the feet in so they're now parallel to each other. Hands will come to your butt. So you're going to hold on to your sit bones, and then you're going to fold forward, sliding down the backs of your legs, Bringing your hands to the backs of the knees, then to the backs of the ankles. Some of you will continue to hold on there. Some of you will release your hands to the floor. And then some of you will stay right here and just breathe. Harnessing the energy right here, right now. Some of you will find that to harness that energy, you need to bend one knee and then the other to continue to open up the inner thighs. But you're allowing yourself to really direct your energy towards the things that are actually going to help service you, to help feed you, to help nurture you. We have so many options in life and so many opportunities that sometimes it can become overwhelming to notice and to really know what we need to focus on. And sometimes the movement, the excitement, the novelty is really important to allow us to have a better sense of insight, a better sense of ourselves. But sometimes we really do have to just slow down, be still, and notice what we can eliminate. Great. So those of you that are in movement, go ahead and come to stillness. Everyone in stillness, take 3 deep breaths here. I want you to notice the connection that you feel between the hands and the floor, the connection that you feel between the feet and the floor. Notice how heavy the head can be, letting it really tune in to the knowledge, the wisdom of the heart and the gut. And then as we're ready, we'll inhale, walk the hands underneath the shoulders. As you exhale, turn to face the top of your space, low lunge. Go ahead and step yourself back to plank pose. And then slower than you want to, you're going to lower all the way down. Nice job, guys. And gals. I should use guys and gals. That's more gender inclusive. Okay. And then once you get down to your bellies, I want you to stack your hands underneath your forehead for heads up, 7 up style. You might bring your big toes to touch and let the heels widen apart, or you might draw the toes out and the heels in. And you're just going to take 3 to 5 breaths here in Nakasana. Steady, steady, deep breaths. Steady, steady, deep breaths, breathing into belly. All right. So to wind out our practice, some of you will stay right here, happy as a clam. Some of you will come back to that low back stabilizer that we did at the very beginning. So you might lift your hands to your low back again, creating that diamond shape with your fingers. You might then parallel your legs. And then you'll draw the shoulders up to your ears, draw the shoulder blades onto your back, and lift your head a couple inches away from the floor this time. And then you'll inhale, float your right leg so far back that it comes up, and then lower it down. And then you might do that with the left leg as well. And then it comes down. And you might try that 4 times. And you'll just notice that with every inhalation, you might lift more of your chest as well as that leg up and away from the floor. With every exhale, you might keep lengthening the tailbone back, the low belly in, the up, low back to the sky. Awesome. And after you've done 4 of those, the last little thing that we'll do is the same that we did before. So you'll inhale, float the legs up, the chest up. You'll exhale and stay here. You'll inhale, open the legs as wide as you want to, lift the chest a little higher. And exhale, hug the legs in, keep the chest that height. And you'll just do 3 of these. And you're just noticing what that feels like. Low back stays long. Breath stays full. Awareness is harnessed really on the intensity of all the things that are happening right now. Okay, and after you've done 4 of those, you'll just hover in Shalabhasana for 3 breaths. So the inner thighs lift, the arms might stay as they are, they might reach back, they might interlace, but the tailbone's lengthening back, the heart's reaching forward, the shoulder blades are on the back, the neck is long, and for 3, yep, for 2, for 1, gently release. Roll the way down, draw an ear to the mat, and just breathe. Just breathe. And then bring the other ear to the mat. And then go ahead and bring your forehead back to the mat. And last little thing, just because I heard that we had neck issues at the beginning, I want you to come into Sphinx pose. Julie likes this one. So let's come into Sphinx pose. Make sure your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. I want you to push down actively through both of your hands. You're going to start to drop your right ear over to your right shoulder. Push down through your left hand, isometrically draw it back so it doesn't actually move, but it feels like it. And then you might open and close your mouth a few times, just feeling what the heck is happening on that left side of your neck. Your tailbone is lengthening back to your feet a lot. The tops of the feet are pressing into the floor. And after you feel like you've gotten enough of that, you might just stay in stillness and take 2 more deep breaths there. Just noticing what's happening on the left side of your neck. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring the head back to center, take a breath cycle there. Just notice the difference between the sides. And then we'll go ahead and try that on the other side. So now your left ear is going to come towards your left shoulder, push down into your right hand, isometrically pull it back, and then open and close the mouth a few times. And again, you're still lengthening that tailbone back a lot. The legs are still super active. So there's no crunching in the low back, and you're just seeing what's happening in the right scalene, erector, upper traps. And then you'll just come to a still spot and you'll breathe. And the more you can push down through that right hand isometrically, or ironically enough, it does actually allow more of it to open. It's like a strengthened stretch. And then when you're ready, you'll inhale and come back through center. You'll slowly lower your spine to the floor. And then let's go ahead and extend one arm alongside our ears. Roll onto our side and onto our back, and then reposition yourself on your back. And last thing, once you find yourself on your back, let's bend our knees. I want you to do a few of those pelvic rocks that we started with just to find your neutral pelvis. And once you feel like you found your neutral pelvis, this is going to be a fun little shocker maybe for some of you. You're going to draw your right knee to your chest, interlace your hands at the back of your right thigh. Kick your right foot straight up to the sky and create a 90-degree angle with that right leg. Really push your thigh into your hands, really pull your hands into your thigh and see if you can create a 90-degree angle. And you're just rooting that thigh straight down so that we can open up the low back. And for whatever reason, when I was doing this practice, it felt a lot harder this time than it did when I did the one at the beginning. And it was always surprising to me. I was like, oh, that's fun. Awesome. And then you'll gently release this knee, plant the foot on the floor, and try it on the other side. So hands behind the back of left thigh, left foot reaches up. You're really kicking the left thigh into the hands. You're really pulling the hands into the thigh, and you're trying to find that 90-degree angle. So we're working for that 90-degree angle. So it really lets the head of the femur root into the acetabulum, so you can find length along the back of the sacrum, pelvis area. Yeah. Yeah, so Barbara, good idea. Keep drawing that left hip away from the left shoulder. And then as you're ready, you'll gently release that. You'll put both feet on the floor. And you'll take a moment to check in and see if there's anything else that your body feels like it might want or need to do. So like a happy baby might feel nice to some of you, a constructive rest might feel nice to some of you, gentle twist might feel nice to some of you, but you allow yourself to just notice what the body's asking for. And then you do that. It's one of those things that I think we really sometimes have to slow things down, pare things down so that we can know how to harness our energy. I think that a lot of us have a lot of ideas. I mean, at least I know I do. I feel like I could live 100 million lifetimes and still never get to all the things that might be of interest to me. But it's not always possible to do all those things. Sometimes you have to pick and choose. And so we're allowing ourselves in this moment to notice what's most important, what's most nurturing, nourishing, filling, supportive to us, and really allowing our awareness and our attention to be directed towards that thing or those few things. So you'll take the next few minutes to go ahead and finish up and then make your way into your final resting pose. And I do encourage you to set yourselves up well once you get there. It is starting to become colder, so if you want to cover the body, by all means, please do that. Yeah. And then as we settle in, I do encourage you to take the first few breaths in this shape to notice if you found yourself in a shape and then you want to make some small adjustments. And if so, make some small adjustments until it feels like the right side and the left side are rooted equally. The right shoulders feel equally heavy. The right hips and the left hips feel equally heavy. The right ankle, the left ankle, they feel equally heavy. And then we'll just start the same way we started at the very beginning of practice. So you'll just take a few breaths in through the nose and audible exhales from the mouth, letting the body settle in. And you'll take about 3 of those on your own. And every exhale just lets more and more of you drop into the weight of gravity. And then we'll start to focus a bit more on our breath. So on your next in-breath, I want you to take in a deep breath in. And at the top of your inhalation, just hold the breath for a beat or two, whatever's comfortable. And then a slow exhale out. And then you'll do that 2 more times. Deep breath in at the top of the inhalation. Hold the breath, keeping the body full of space and prana and air. And then slow exhale out. And then last time, just a slow, steady, deep breath in, holding the breath, filling that fullness of the breath, and then slowly letting it go. And now you'll just allow your breath to return to more of an involuntary rhythm. And I do invite you to bring your awareness to wherever it is most easy for you to gather your awareness on your breath. So sometimes it feels easy to connect to the breath through the movement of the abdomen. Sometimes it feels easy to connect to the breath through the movement of the ribs, the chest. And sometimes it feels easy to connect to the breath through the movement in and out of the nostrils. And wherever it is most easy for you to rest your awareness on the movement of the breath, you'll just continue to watch the breath as it enters and as it exits your body. And whenever the mind wanders, as it may, the invitation is always to come back to just focusing on the breath, yoking your awareness to this moment, in time to this being that you are. I will leave you on your own for a few more moments, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Mm. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. Notice what you notice. If there's any part of you that's longing to linger here, by all means, stay here. When you are ready to move on, allow small, gentle movement to re-enter into your physical form. Those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, you'll gently start to make your way over to one of your sides. When you do find yourself on your side, just take a few breaths there, really allowing gravity to press down into the floor, allowing that to notice or impact how your body breathes. Very gently, you'll roll your chest more towards the floor, press into the top hand, and draw yourself up to a tall and comfortable seat. And then when you are vertical, I do encourage you to elevate your pelvis on something. From vertical, Keep the gaze inward or the eyes closed. And I want you to bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your abdomen. Just take 3 breaths here. And I want you to see if you can breathe into them evenly and equally. It's interesting to me that I think in a lot of instances, our intuition, that part of us that allows us to gather all the cooperative components of life together and make the most of them, I don't think that it lives in the head at all, but it lives either in the gut, the abdomen, or in the heart space. And so we'll just take the next few breaths to notice what it is that you want to harness, what you want to harvest in your own life, what things you'd like to bring to fruition, what seeds you'd like to actually start to plant going forward. And when you feel like you have a good idea of what that may be, you'll gently bring the hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Really press the hands into each other, receiving the weight of the right hand to the left hand to the right. Allow the thumbs to rest into the sternum and the sternum to press back into the thumbs. Gently exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. To that light and to that breath and to that sound, we bow. Namaste.